Yeah, let's start. Right. So yesterday we have seen how to use components, how to reuse the components. So in yesterday's case, we have reused the custom component. Now let us use standard Webdynpro component. So what I want is I want to implement select options functionality and ALV report functionality. Okay, select option functionality and ALV report functionality in my custom Webdynpro component. So if you want to implement select option functionality, we have to use a standard component. So if you go to Object Navigator, we have a standard component WDR underscore select underscore options. This is the standard Webdynpro component which we need to use, okay, to incorporate the select option functionality in what Webdynpro. Okay, so when I press enter here, it is going to show you the Webdynpro components. So as usual, oh, one second, please just hold on. Yeah, so see here in this standard component WDR underscore select underscore options, you can see they are using what? They're using some assistance class. So when I double click on this select options component level, see at the component level they are including what? One assistant class. We did not bother about what this class is doing, but they are using that particular assistance class. Okay, and this standard component is having many views. You can observe here it is having what? Many views. It is having many windows. We also discussed how to work with multiple windows. Okay, and so on, so done. Similarly, if you want to incorporate the ALV reporting, we have to use a standard component called as SALV underscore what? WD underscore what? Table. SALV underscore WD underscore table. This is a standard component given by SAP to incorporate what? ALV reporting feature in what? Webdynpro. Is it clear? So again, this also contains what? Many views, many windows, etc. etc. Am I clear? So what is my requirement is I want something like this. I want two views. In view one, which is the default view, I have to read what? range of what? Sales document. When I click on this button, I have to navigate to what? Another view which has to display the sales orders in the form of what? ALV report. So select option is represented by which component? WDR select options. ALV is represented by what? SALV underscore WD underscore table. So I am using both the components in my custom component. I am going to use both the components in my custom component. Done. So let's do it part by part. Hope the requirement is clear to everyone. Then we know this navigation, outbound plug, inbound plug. This is the overall requirement. Done. So first let us focus on what this view 1 Z10 AM WD what 15 is over, 16, 17 is over, 18. Okay, so in this select options and what ALV integration. Window name is underscore window, view name is, I want two views now, so I'll take V1. I'll save it in the local object. Done. So this is view 1. I require one more view now. Let me create that. Right click on the view. I'll create another view. View 2. View 2. Done. So two views are what created. Then anyhow I have to do the navigation between view 1 and view 2 now. So I require outbound plug and what? Inbound plug. So I'll go to view 1. I can follow any sequence. Whatever I know, I am doing it initially. So what is that first one? Outbound plug na? In the source view, I'll give the outbound plug. Let me give it as what? To what? View 2. I'll give the description. Navigate to what? View 2. Done. This is outbound plug. Then in the V2, I have to create what? Inbound plug. So I'll say from what? View 1. I'll give the description. Navigated from what? View 1. Done. Let me save it. So we have what? Two views. View 1 and what? View 2. View 1 and next is what? View 2. V1 is having the outbound plug and V2 is having the inbound plug. Then let me plug both the views to what? Window. Okay, so if you go to the window level, already V1 is plugged. Let me plug what? V2. Done. Okay, then I have to establish the navigation link na? So I'll right click on the outbound plug of view 1, create what? Navigation link. Destination view I'll give it as what? V2. This is the inbound plug. Done. So done. Okay, let me create the application. Save your application. Activate your entire component. Okay, and view 1 I should take what? One button na? So for button anyway I don't require any context. Directly I'll design the what? Layout. So let me go to that. Yeah, so in the view 1 I'll directly go to the layout. I'll take what? One button. I'll take one button. I'll give the text here. Display sales orders. I have to provide what? On action event. What is that? Uh, Display underscore sales underscore what? Orders. Done. Oh, display sales orders. What is the logic I have to write in this button? I have to fire the outbound plug. Na? So I'll go to the on action event of what? Button. Already we know how to fire the outbound plug. So here I'll say what? Fire what? Outbound plug. When I have to fire is only when you have the sales orders only I have to fire. But as of now directly I'm doing WD underscore this of what? Fire underscore to view to underscore PL. Already we know this. Whenever we create the outbound plug, it SAP generates on fire underscore outbound plug name underscore PLG in the local interface. So done. Let me activate this. Let me activate the old component. I'll test it. Okay, this is view 1. If I click on this, yes, I'm able to go to what? View 2. But before that, let us focus on what? View 1. Okay, so in the view 1, what you have to display here? The range of what? Select options. Range of sales orders, select option. Okay, range of what? Sales orders. Okay, so in our normal above, we can use the statement what? Select option. That will generate the selection screen. Here we don't have the selection screen concept. Everything you have to do it on the view. Okay, so if you want to display the select option range functionality here, what is the standard component for select options? WDR underscore select underscore what? Options. If I go to this, try to understand. If I go to this WDR underscore select underscore options, in this, there is one view. There is one view called as what? Selection screen. Okay, and there is a window called as what? WND underscore what? Selection underscore screen. If I double click on this window, to this window, what is the view attached? Selection. Am I clear? View name is what? Selection underscore screen. Window name is what? WND underscore selection underscore screen. So this we have to show on our view so that you'll get what? Select option functionality. Directly I cannot embed the view. You have to embed what? Window. So how do we embed the internal external view? We have to take what? View container. Na? Understood? So this is coming from where? This is coming from what? Standard Webdynpro component. So let me just integrated from what? Standard Webdynpro component. What is that standard Webdynpro component? WDR underscore what? Select underscore what? Options. Am I clear? So that's what I have to do. So how do we reuse? You have to include, na? Right? So first of all, in the view one, I'll take what? In the layout, I have to take view container, na? So understood. For holding that external view, right click on this, insert element. I'll give the ID as vcont view container view element. I'll put this button down. First I'm putting what? View container. Next what? Button. Right. So now what I have to do? If you go to the already view one is plugged to window, na? If you go to the window level, if you expand this view one contains what? View container. If I right click on this now, if I right click on this now, if I say what? Embed view, view to be embedded, browses, it will show only the views of the current component. Na? Yes or no? It has to show the views of what? Standard component. I mean to say the windows of what? Standard component. So what I have to do now? We have done it yesterday. Go to the component level. Which component you want to include? Hmm? Yeah. WDR underscore what? Select underscore options. Whenever we include, we have to give one component usage name. Na? I'll give the name as something SCL, any name. So I'm including the standard component WDR underscore select underscore options as part of our Webdynpro component. Am I clear? As part of Webdynpro component. Next what? Now go to what? Window level. In the window we have view 1 which contains what? View container. Now right click on the view container, embed view, view to be embedded. Browsers, good. It is showing me what? What is the component? What is the window? Only window it is showing? WND underscore selection underscore screen. Actually, this is not a view. It is an interface view. Nothing but what? Window. Interface view means what? Window. So if you go to the standard component, see in this W underscore selection the window under which view is plugged? Selection screen. So here it will not show me the views. It will show me what? Window. Am I clear? Three. Might be they are creating this window only as interface window which is accessible outside the component. Yesterday I have selected the checkbox now. Interface means what? Accessible outside the checkbox. Might be only this is a interface window so that it is accessible outside the component. Am I clear? So I'll choose this. Yes, it is having many views and many windows. Might be they have created only this as what? Interface window. Somewhere they might have controlled the property. Where I can check it? Can I check it first of all? This is my selection screen. This is a view. Okay, this is a view given by what? SAP. View properties. Let me check. Anywhere can I? No. Okay, first let me check in what? Component interface. Huh? Yeah, interface views. Yeah, only this what is made as what? This thing. Only interface view is nothing but what? Window. Okay, so that's the reason only that is exposed. Done. So now I'll choose what? This one. Understood? So I'm embedding what now? External view. Okay, done. That's all. Save it, check it, activate this. Might be you'll get error. So activate the whole component once. Keep it in display mode. Activate the whole component so that everything gets what? Activated. Done. So we are including at component level. Let me go to the window. Let me activate this also. Right. So is it clear? Embedded done. Let me once again activate. Let me execute this. Right click and say test. Good. Earlier we had only our button. Now they are the buttons coming from where? Standard common. How many buttons are there? 4 buttons. See here, you can observe here. If you go to the standard component, this is the window we have embedded. Na? In this window, what is the view plugged? Selection screen. If you go to that selection screen, it is having that 4 buttons. Na? That's what it is showing. Am I clear? But our requirement is not this. I should remove these buttons. I should remove these buttons and I have to show what? Because SAP cannot predict what range it has to show, whether it is the range of customers, whether it's the range of what? Sales orders, whether it is the range of vendor, whether it's the range of material, range of it. SAP cannot predict. So dynamically we have to construct. Am I clear? So let's see how to do it. Okay, so now see the technique here. So whenever we start our execution, which view is the default view here? In our case, view 1. What is the first method which gets called? wd_do init. So in the wd_do init method, I have to remove that default buttons and construct our own select option field. Our own select option field. So I'll go to what? View 1, wd_do init method. Yeah, here, see the technique. So first thing what I have to do is, okay, if I go back to this, if you go to the standard component, one second, right, there are many methods here, done, not required, okay. So see the technique here. Yes, so far we are including that standard component only at what level? Only at what level? Component level. Yes or no? We include only at component level. Because of this inclusion only, we are able to embed what? External view. Now what I have to do? So our component knows about this standard component, but our view doesn't know about what? Standard component. So what we did yesterday, at the view level also, yes, at the view level also, we have to include that standard component. As of now, this view knows only about what? Current component controller, not about the included component. So already we have discussed yesterday. In the view level, go to what? Properties, create, controller usage. You will have two entries related to that included component. What is the component usage name? SCL only, na? You'll have two entries. Include both the entries one by one. Include both the entries one after the other. I'll choose this first. One entry is included. Then again, create control. You say what is the other one? Interface controller. Done. So it has included what? Both the entries related to what? Included component. Because of this inclusion, yesterday I told you, two methods gets generated. What are they? WD CPUs, WD CPI, FC as part of local interface. If you go to my local interface, somewhere here you'll get that. Do we have that? WCPUs, WCPFs. Yesterday, for calling that external method, we have called only this method and we got the reference, and using the reference we call the external method. Now first step is here, what you have to do is observe this carefully. In the WD method, this is the procedure we have to follow now onwards for most of the requirements. So first step is instantiate the used component. What is the used component name? What is the alias name I gave? SCL only, na? So how do we instantiate? Means we have to call that generated method. There are two generated methods, na? What are they? One is CPUs, and there is what? So call this WD CPUs. If you, it's an instant method. If you call, what does it do? Returns object of which interface? If WD what? Component usage. So what I'll do here? Here I'll say data O underscore component usage type ref to what? If WD component usage O underscore component usage is equal to what is this? WD underscore this of what is the method? WD CPUs underscore what is the component usage name? Cell. That is the method name, right? So this is the first step you have to do, because we are going to use this component now. First of all, you have to instantiate. Understood? It is going to appear on my screen. I am going to use it in the runtime now, so we have to instantiate that first. Okay, this is the first step. Save it, check it, no errors, done. Let me check whether I'll get any errors. Right click, activate, run the application now. As of now, still there are no errors, done. So what I did, I've included that standard component at view level. Because of that inclusion, two methods got generated: WD CPUs, WD CPI, FC. Okay. So first step, what you have to do before we start using that component, you have to what? instantiate that. I have instantiated. Done. Next step is get the reference of what? Interface. Interface controller means it is a controller related to the included component. What is the included component here? WDR underscore select underscore what? Options. What is the component you see name? SCL. So how do we get the reference of interface controller? There is another method which got generated now. What is that? WD underscore what? CPI FC. It is the instant method. What does it do? Returns object of which interface? IWCI underscore what? WDR underscore what? Select option. So what I'll do here? Here I'll say data. Try to understand. Data O underscore what? Interface controller type ref to IWCI underscore so and so. Then O underscore what? Interface controller equal to WD underscore this of what? What is the method? WD underscore CPI FC underscore what? SCL. Understood? So first step is you have to instantiate what? Use component, then you have to get the reference of what? Interface controller. Save it, check it, no errors, done. Let me check whether I'll get any runtime errors. Okay, when I test it, I got a error. What is that error? Component usage SCL does not have what? Does not have what? Active component. So what are the component you are using? It is not active in our program itself. What are the component we are using? It is not active in our program. So we need to activate that. Am I clear? Earlier, when I did only this step, nothing has happened. When I'm trying to get the reference of that used component, okay, I got what? A error, runtime error kind of thing. So now what I have to do is, I have to say if what? O underscore CMP underscore USG is what? What? Bound. If it is bound, yeah, what is this O underscore CMP USG? It is object of which class? If WD what? Component usage. Let me go to that. If underscore WD underscore what? Component usage. In this interface, there is a method called as what? As active component. What is this? Instance. How to call instance methods? Object. What is the object I got in the previous step? CMP ESG. Okay. What is the signature of that method? Returns what? Boolean. Either true or what? False. So I'll say when I double click on this, it returns me the boolean, either true or what? False. Type C length 1. Okay, done. So I'll say here, see the technique. Check whether used component is what? Active or what? Not. How do you check? I'll declare one variable data lv underscore what? Boolean. Type what? abap underscore what? Boolean. abap underscore what? Boolean. I'll call that method lv underscore what? Boolean is equal to what? O underscore cmp underscore ug. What is the method? As active component. It returns true or what? False. As underscore active underscore what? Component. Okay. Then I'll say if lv underscore boolean is or equal to what? abap underscore false. If it is active, it returns what? True. If it is not active, it returns what? False. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? If not active, you have to activate it. How do you activate? There is a method here in the same class. What is this? What is this? create component. This will what? Activated. What is the signature of this? All are what? All are optional. What is the method name? Create underscore what? Component. So here I have to say what? O underscore CMP underscore USG of what? What is the method? Create underscore component. Okay, so these three steps, this step, this step, and this step is common for any kind of requirement. Okay, try to understand like this. Whenever we are using any standard components, these three steps are what? Common. First you have to what? Instantiate the what? Used component. Then we have to check whether the used component is active or not. How do you check? You have to call the method what? As active component. Okay, if it is not active, you have to activate it. By how do you activate? By calling the method what? Create component. Done. So if this is a confusion for you, I'm commenting everything. I'm commenting everything. Yeah. Done. So what is the first step I have to do? Instantiate what? Use component. How do we instantiate the use component? We have to call which method? WD underscore what? CPUs. Then what we do after that? We are checking whether it is active or not. If it is not active, we are what? Creating the component. Okay. So if there is a confusion, okay, after including that component at what? View level, go to what? Code wizard. Okay. In the general tab, what is this? Instantiate the use component. Choose this component usage name. Browsers. What is the only component usage name? SCL. Provide this. Continue. See the code generated. What they are doing? They also first they are calling which method? CPUs. Then they are checking as active component is what? Initial. Initial is false. What they are doing? Create component. That's all. Na? Anything is fine. I can use wizard or I can write the code manually. Clear? Then we have to get the reference of what? Interface control. How to get the reference? You have to call which method? CPI FC. Okay, so done. Okay, so I got the reference of what? Interface controller. This is a reference of what interface? IWDA underscore WDR underscore what? Select options. Let me go to that interface. It's a global interface. IWCI underscore what? WDR underscore select underscore options. In this you can see there is one instance method. What is this? Initialize the what? Selection screen. So the next step is if what? O underscore what? Interface underscore controller is what? Bound. Okay. What you have to do? Initialize what? Selection screen. What is the method I have to call? Yes, init underscore selection underscore screen. What is the parameter it takes? It takes no parameters. It returns object of which interface? If underscore wd underscore select underscore what? Options. If underscore wd underscore select underscore options. Am I clear? So let me declare this. So what I have to do now? Here I'll say data what? O underscore cell type ref to what? If WD select options, O underscore SCL is equal to what? O underscore interface. What is the method name? Init underscore selection underscore what? Screen. Done na? Okay. Next, if what? O underscore cell is what? Bound. Am I clear? Do it step by step. After receiving the object, using that object, call the further methods. That is the process you have to follow. If O underscore cell is not initial, so it is returning the object of which interface? This one, na? Let me go to this. Okay. Now in this, there is a method here. What is this? Create what? Range table. What is this? Instead dynamically creates what? Select option is also internal table. Create range. How to call this instance by using what? Object. So see the signature. Type name. Type name is what type? String it seems. Okay. And rest of things is what? Optional. Okay. Returning. Returning is always optional. What it is returning? Type ref to what? Type ref to what? Data. Type ref to data. So see the technique here. I'll say what is the next step now? Create what? Range table. So data o underscore what? What it is returning? Range table type ref to what? Data na? Range table type ref to data. Range table. So I'll say t underscore what? Range type ref to what is this? Data. Can I use pattern? Yes, it's a global interface only. Na? What is the previous object? O underscore cell. What is the interface? If underscore wd underscore what? Select option. So what is the method name? Yes, create range table. Type name it is asking. What you want to read on the selection screen? On the select option, range of what? Sales document. What is the data element of sales document? Webler underscore what? VA. Webler underscore VA. It returns the range table. I'll receive it here. T underscore what? Range. Done. Save it. Check it. Any errors? No errors. Done. Okay. Then if what? T underscore range is what? Bound. Okay. If T underscore range is bound. Okay. What I'll do here? In the same what? In the same interface, there is a method what? Add what? Select add additional field to what? So instant method. What is the signature of this? ID. Select option should have some name na? ID we have to pass. ID of what? Selection field. What else it takes? Yeah, you can see IT underscore what? It is actually what? Optional, but it is expecting what? Object of what? Data. What is the description? Reference to what? Range table. Done. So IT underscore result. So see the technique here. Add what? Select option what? Field. I'll go to pattern. Again same object, same interface. What is the method name? Add underscore selection underscore what? Field. ID. What is the ID you want to give for that? You can give any ID. I'll give what? Weblen. Done, done, done. Result table. What is the range table I got in the earlier step? T underscore what? Range. And I'll remove all these things. I'll remove all these things. Done. Over. Save it. Check it. No errors. Done. I'll explain once again. Before that, let me execute this once. There is no shortcut. If you want to use select options in Webdynpro, this is the only way. This is the only way. Okay. So right click on this, activate. When I execute the application, good. Did I got that? I got that. Am I clear? I got it now. And what is this? No extension. If I click on this, I can give what? Multiple ranges, na? Right? I don't want that. I don't want this. In our ABAP, we use no extension, na? Okay, here what I'll do is in the same method, somewhere you'll have it. What is this? I no extension. By default, it is what? False. So I have to set it to what? True. It is what parameter importing. So while calling becomes what? Exporting. So somewhere here, no extension is equal to what? ABAP underscore what? True. Let me execute now. Right click on this and say test. Done. It got what? Suppressed. Am I clear? But I don't want these buttons also. These are coming by default from that view now. I don't want this. Okay, so what I'll do in the same interface, yeah, somewhere some method. Yeah. Set what? Global option. Instant method. What is the signature here? Cancel button, check button, reset by exit. By default, they are what? True. They are visible. I have to make it as what? False. Set global options is a method. So what is the next step I want to do here? This is optional. What? Suppress default button. So I'll go to pattern. What is the method? Set global options. What? False. False. Check it. Activate this. Okay, done. Let me right click on this and say activate. When I execute this, it has been what? Suppressed. So what is the overall procedure for select option? Yes. How do we explain that in the interview? If you want to incorporate select option functionality in Webdynpro, we have to make use of the standard component what? WDR underscore select underscore what? Options. Okay. That standard component, first of all, you have to include at what? At component level by providing some component usage name. Then what you have to do, as part of our view, we must take one view container for embedding the external view. External view will come from where? The included standard component. What is that external window interface view name? WND underscore selection underscore screen. So first of all, you have to embed the external interface view. Then what you have to do, we have to include that standard component as part of our view level. Because of that inclusion, SAP will generate two methods: WD CPUs underscore component usage name, WD underscore CPI FC underscore component usage name. Then what you have to do, as part of the init method, first of all you have to instantiate that particular used component by calling which method? WD underscore CP use. Check whether that instantiated component is active or not. That is done by calling the method as active component. If it is not active, you need to activate it by calling the method what? Create component. Done. Then you have to get the reference of the interface controller by calling the instance method what? WD underscore CPI FC underscore what? Component usage name. Using the reference of the interface controller, we have to initialize the selection screen. Okay. Then once we initialize the selection screen, it will return the reference of what? Select options interface. It will return the reference of what? Select options interface. Using that select option interface, we have to create the range table by specifying the data element. You will get the range table. That is, it will return me what? Sign option low and what? Hi, excuse me please, just hold on. Hello? Yeah, who is this? Okay, sure, tell me. Uh, Maybe another, I require around 8 to 10 hours. Next week max. Okay, yeah. Sorry, where we are? So what this will contain? It contains a select option, nothing but a internal table in the runtime na. So it contains what? Sign, option, low and what? I. Low and I will refer to which field? Which data element? Webdon underscore VA. And for select option, you have to give some name na. What is the name I gave? Something what? Weblen. Okay, so this is what we have done. What is the next part? I'll enter 49 what 80 to what 4985. I'll click on this button. Oh, acha, we are navigating. First of all, what you have to do when I click on the button, I have to read that select option range. Read that select option range. Based on that range, you have to get the sales orders. If the sales orders are available, then only we have to navigate to what view 2. That's what you have to do. So the next agenda is what, write the logic in what this one. What I have to do now, read what, read the select option range. If it is a normal ABAP, directly I can write the select option. I can say where in what select option name. But this is not the select option variable which is created in the design time. We have constructed this dynamically, na? So dynamically only you have to read it. So simple technique. What you have to do is, for creating the range, what is the method you are using? Create range table. For getting the range, what is this? Get range table of what? Selection field. What is this method? Instead of this interface, na? But this object is available locally in the init method, na? So it will be destroyed, right? So what I'll do now, what is the adjustment I have to do? I have to declare it as a view attribute. So I'll remove it from here. I'll remove it from here. What I have to do? Sorry. I have to go to what? View attributes. What is that? View underscore cell. What? Type ref2. What is this? If underscore wd underscore what? Select underscore what? Options. I'm declaring it as a view attribute. This can be used in all the methods of this view, na? So here in the wd method, what I have to do now? Yes, here I have to say prefix with what? W underscore this. Here also what? W underscore this of what? O underscore cell. And what else? Here also. W underscore this. What else? Here also. What? W underscore what? Yes. Because I want it in another method also, na? Oh, here also. What is this? W underscore what? Yes. I declared it as a view attribute. So let me save it. Check it. No errors. Done. Activate this. Right? So now go back to that on action method. Here. What you have to do? Read what? Range table of what? Read range table of what? Dynamic select option. What is the method I have to call? Get range table. It's the instant method. What is the signature here? ID. What is the ID I gave? Weblen. Huh? Weblen. What does it do here also? Returns a reference of what? Data. Again, this is also declared locally there, na? So again, I'll go back there. Am I clear? I'll go back to what? WD do init method. I declared locally somewhere. Where is that? Yeah, here. Not this. Here. Okay, remove this from here. Declare it as what? View attribute. What is that? I'll say t underscore what? Range. Type ref to what? Data. So here what you have to do in the WD init, prefix with what? WD underscore this of what? T underscore range. Here also if WD underscore this of what? T underscore range is what? Bound. WD underscore this of what? T underscore range. Save it, check it, no errors, done. Now go to that on action event method. Yeah, I have to call that method. You go to pattern. Yeah, what is that interface? Prefix with what? WD underscore this. What is the method? Get what? Get range table. Huh? Get range table of what? Selection field. ID. What is the ID I give? Weblen. Okay. Returning the range. What is this? WD underscore this of what? T underscore what? Range. Clear? So let me save it. Check it. I know this is a little complex, but Keep on practicing, you'll remember. I'll go to this, I'll put the breakpoints. Done. Let me execute one. What is the first method called? wd do init. It is calling the wd do init method. So if you see component usage, as of now it is what? Initial. I got the object. If it is bound, okay, right? Boolean is space. Above false with what? Space. I'm creating the component. It got created. Interface control is the initial now. I got the reference of interface controller. If it is bound, now if you see this, this is initial. I got the reference of select option field. Yes, I got the reference. If it is bound, I'm calling the what? Method. Okay, what this method is doing? It is going to return the range table. It is initial now. Yes, I got the range table. See here. What is this? Standard table. Let me check what is there in this. Can I see? Sign option low I without any data. Am I clear? It is constructing that select option internal table. Okay. So see how they are representing. How they are referring to this. WD this T of range hyphen what? Star. Data in this is nothing. Okay. Done. Now if it is bound, what I am doing here? I'm adding the selection field. Done. Okay, now if you see this, okay, it is done here. Nothing is there as of now. Then I'm setting the global option. Done. Now I'll enter what? 4980 to what? 4985. I'll click on this. I'll click on this. It is stopping there. Done. Yeah, if you observe this, if you see the range table, it is still what? What? Zero. How many fields? For sign option low and high, na? If you see here, empty. I enter the data on the screen now. Now I have to read it. How to read it? Get what? Range table. So when I read it now, when I say F6, how many entries I got? One entry. Check that. Good. What is the default for sign? Inclusive between 4980 and 4985. Am I clear? So I got the data, but I cannot directly refer this. How they are referring here? See, hyphen what? Star. To refer to the data of this, I have to use star itself. So now simple adjustments. Yeah, what I have to do now? If what? WD underscore this of what? T underscore range is what? Is bound. Okay. If it is bound, assign what? Select option data to what? To field symbol. So I'll say here field symbols, just FS. Select option is the internal table. Na? So type what? Any table. Assign, how to assign value to field symbol? By using assign statement. WD underscore this of what? T underscore range of what? Star. Star refers to what? Content of that. To what is the field symbol? FS. Then what I have to do here? Get what? Sales what? Items. Get the sales items. I require internal table, na? Not sales items. Sales orders. Now at this stage it is not pointing to anything. After this it is pointing to our select option. How do you refer to the content of our select option? Star. How do I know this? From the debugging. Star refers to the content of this dynamically created internal table. Dynamic internal table. This got created dynamically. It is not static. Okay. Now get the sales orders. I require internal table. Na? How do you declare? By referring to the node only. Na? So what is that node I require? Sales order means 4 fields, right? So I can directly create the context in what? View 1, but I'll not create. I'll create at what? Component level. Why I am creating at component level, you understand later on. Okay, if I directly create here, it works fine, but you'll not get the data. So that's the reason I'll go to what? Component controller. I'll create at what level? Component level. Create what? Node. What is the node name? VBAK underscore node. What is that? ZC what? VBAK cardinality is what? 0 to n. Add attributes from the structure. ZC VBAK is not there. Huh? It's there. How many fields? 4 fields. Done. It is created. So where I created? Component level. Now I'll come to view level. I'll do first what? I'll do first what? Internal context mapping. I'm doing it what? To my current view. Understood? Then I'll go back to my on action event of the button. So here I need to get the sales automatically require internal table. Na? So data what? T underscore VBAK type what? WD underscore this of what? Elements underscore VBAK node. Select Webland ERDAT ERZDT ERNAM from what? VBAK into table. What is the field symbol? Sorry, into table. What is the internal table? T underscore VBAK where Webland in. What is that? FS. Okay, suppose, okay, let me come back to this. FS, then if what? Size of RC equal to what? 0. This part any of you know. What is this? Get the reference of the node. Which node? VBAK node. Data context underscore VBAK node. Type ref to what? If underscore WD underscore context underscore node. It is under root. So as usual, WD underscore context. If WD context node. What is this? Get child node. I'm calling the method get child node. What is the name of the this thing? Yes. What? WD underscore this of what? WD context underscore what? VBAK underscore node. What is that? Context underscore VBAK underscore node. Then what? If context underscore VBAK underscore node is what? What? Bound. What you have to do? Bind what? Sales orders. Context underscore VBAK underscore node of what? Bind underscore what? Table. What is the internal table? T underscore what? VBAK. Then here what I have to do? I have to fire the outbound plug. This firing of outbound plug I have to do it here. Fire what? Outbound plug to navigate to what? Second view. So let me close the if blocks properly. I'll explain. So okay, I have created it here na. So first activate this first. Activate what? Component control. Then I am doing what? Mapping. So now you activate the whole component. Done. Everything is active. Let me activate this. I'll put the breakpoint in what? That button only. Yeah, I'll enter what? 4980 to what? 4985. So if you click on this, yeah, it is stopping there. I'm trying to read the range. As of now, it is what? 0. Nothing is there. Now, how to read it? Get range table. So I got the content in that. Na? This is not statically created select option. It is dynamically created what? Select option. If it is bound, what I'm doing? I'm assigning that to what? Field symbol. What is the field symbol here? FS. As of now, it is not assigned. Okay, now I'm doing the assignment. Yes, it got what? Assigned. Can I check the content? Yes, good. What is this? I, BT, and what? So and so. Am I clear? Now I'm getting the sales orders. How many records I got between that range? How many records? 5 records. 80, 82, 83, 84, 85. Done. And rest of the part we know we are binding it. Okay. So I'm navigating it to what? Second view. Suppose here I'm assigning it to field symbol. Na? Assume that I'll not assign. I'll comment this. Okay. I'll directly compare with what? My dynamically created internal. What is this? WD underscore this of what? T underscore what? Range. Let me check will accept or not. Okay, save it. Check it. Good. What is that saying? T underscore range in the it is when we use in operator, when you are comparing with the internal table or it is not an internal table, it is dynamically created internal table. It is not recognizing that. Am I clear? That's why it is saying what? T underscore range is not an internal table. Okay, that's the reason I must assign it to what? Field symbol, which should be type what? Any table. So, what is this? In what? FS assign the entire data to what? Now it will work. Yes. No issue. Yes, because no issue. Because you are clearly saying what here? Table. Yes or no? You are clearly saying this as what? Table. Nothing but internal table. Na? But anywhere did you say this is a table? No, na. This is a type ref to what? Data. Depending on the field you gave, depending on the data element you gave, it is creating what? Dynamic internal. In the runtime, it is recognized as what? Internal table. But in the design time, it is not recognized as what? Internal. That's why it is not type compatible. Na? In means what? It always expects what? Internal table. Okay? That's why this is not recognized as what? It is only reference to what? Data. Na? It is only reference to what? Data. But this got converted to what? Internal table during runtime. During runtime. Okay, that's the reason I must assign it to what? Field symbol. Okay, done. So what is the agenda now? We are able to navigate to the second view. But in the second view, we have to display it in what format? ALV format. So simple technique. In the standard for select option, what is that we are embedding? WND underscore selection screen. In this, what is the view attached? Selection screen. For ALV reporting, what is that? SALV underscore WD underscore what? Table. Okay. In this standard interface, see the technique. Okay. We have many views. Okay. One of the window, we have many windows. One of the window is what? Table. If you double click on this table window, in this table window, what is the uh, okay? What is this view plugged? View underscore what? All. So if you see this view section, what is this? This is the view we have to embed, which is embedded to what window? Table window. So how do we use it now? Simple. Go to what? Component level. As part of component level, what is this? SLV underscore W underscore what? Table. We have to give some component usage name. I'll give what? ALV. Some name. Done. Now in the view 2 we have to show the ALV report. Na? In the view 2 I have to show the ALV report. So here also I should take what? View container for holding what? External view. Insert element. View container view element. Done. Okay. Now what I'll do? I'll go to what? Window level. In the window level, view2 is also attached. Here is view container. Right click on what? View container, embed view. What is this? View to be embedded. Yes. What is this? What is this? Table only, na? Now it is showing what? Multiple views. So multiple windows. What is this here? table. Okay, I'll just choose this, continue, done, save it, check it, activate. So in the second view I took what? View container. Let me activate this one. I took view container. Okay, on that view container I am embedding what? An external window. What is that external window? Table, which is coming from where? From coming from the standard component. So how to put it here? Yes. Hmm? Right, so also what? Integrated from what? Standard Webdynpro what? Component. What is that? SALV underscore WD underscore what? Table. Okay, this is what I'm trying to show. Clear? Huh? Okay, so now see here. If you go to view 2, I took the view container. In this view container, I'm embedding what? At the window level, I'm embedding what? This is coming from where? From the standard component. SLU underscore WD underscore what? Table. Let me check whether it will come or not. It should not come. Let me check. Activate this and enter the range 4980 to what? 4985. I'll click on this. What happened? Hmm? Yeah, I missed one setting. Done. I'm not getting it because okay, we are telling we have taken what? View container. In this view container, we have embedded what? External window. But we are not instructing SAP what data we have to display there. Na? What data? What data? This context node only, na? This data. So what we have to do now is we have to go for external context mapping. So far we were doing what? Internal context mapping. Earlier what I did? I declared the context at component level. I went to what? V1. In the view1 context, what I did? I mapped the context from what? Component controller to the view of what? Same component. Now what you have to do is simple technique. How many component usages are there? Two component, ALV and SCL. There is one node which got created here. What is this? How many component usages? Two. Go to this ALV. If you expand this ALV, we are having what? Interface controller usage. Double click on this. Yeah, you can see now. Observe this carefully. What is this? This is the context of which interface, which component? Standard component. This is not our one. Na? Now, if you see right hand side, oh, it's not showing. Huh? Hmm? Okay. I think. Yeah, it is. Okay. Understand under what? Component usages. I double clicked on this, it's showing that. Now I'll click on what? Controller usage. Is it showing my component controller? Am I clear? I first under what? Component usages. Expand your component usage to ALV. Double click on what? It is showing me only the context of what? Included component. Then you click on what? Controller usage. Yes. What is this? Component controller. Is it showing right hand side? Yes. Now you understood why I created component level? For mapping. Okay, if I directly create this node at what? View level, I cannot do the external mapping. That's the reason this node, this final node, should be available at what level? Component level. Now what you do? You map the node of our component to the data node of what? interface. So nothing but external context mapping. Na? We are mapping the context from one component to what? Another component. So see here, I'll just drag and drop VBAK node onto what? Data node. Just map it onto data node. Yes, what is saying here? External mapping for context element data is what? Different. Now SAP will have the intelligence what data it has to display. So what is the thumb rule? Whatever the data you want to display in your ALV report, that particular node should be mapped to what? Data node. So in order to do that mapping, your node should be available at what level? Component. So where you have to do the external mapping under what? Component. You say that's all. Now SAP knows what data it has to display in ALV format. Already we have binded the data to this node na, in our code. So see here, when I refresh, yeah, I got it in what? ALV format. I'm getting some buttons. Going forward, we'll see how to add our own buttons, how to disable, enable all types of interaction. When I click on this, something should happen. Interactive reporting. Whatever you can do in a normal app, we can do more here. Sorry? Extra rows are coming. Why? Might be they have defined this with that setting. Can I control it anywhere here? Open settings dialog. Anywhere is there? I'll click on display tab. Displayed rows is what? Understood? So because of that setting, okay, they are defined like that. So I'll say what? Something what? 6 or 8. I'll say 6. Apply, and I'll say what? Okay. Is it clear? So we can add our own buttons. We can do whatever you want. So what is the procedure for ALV reporting? How do you explain that in the entry? How do you display ALV reports in Webdynpro, or how do you develop ALV reports in Webdynpro? Means we have to include the standard component. What is the standard component? SALV underscore WD underscore table at what? Component level. Then what you have to do? As part of your view, we have to take one view container. Onto that view container, we have to embed what? External interface view. Nothing but what? External window. What is that window name? Table. Table only na. If you go to this view 2, or not view 2, if you go to window level, in the window level in view 2, what you have embedded here? What? Table. This is having what? A view internally, but this is nothing but a window here. Understood? So after embedding this, what you have to do? What is the other thing you have to do? Map your final node. Map your final node with what? Data node of what? Interface controller. Data node of what? Interface controller. So if you see data node here, see the mapping here. This data mapping path is what? Our component control. What is the node? So our make sure that for ALV reporting, your final node is always at what level? Component controller level. Then only we can do what? External context mapping. Okay. So anyhow, in the next 2-3 days, I'll continue with ALV reporting with other. Again, it's a never ending. So we'll spend another 2-3 days. Again, we'll see the same thing from the scratch, so that you'll understand. Am I clear? Any questions? Done. So requires practice. Anyhow, this Friday I'll try to share these recordings. I'm in the process of conversion. I'll share that recordings for preview for 1 week to 10 days. We can go through that. Okay. Done. So I'll wind off tomorrow. For the next 2-3 days, we'll see the examples on what? ALV reporting only, so that you'll become familiar on that. So I'll do it from the scratch so that you'll understand the process. This is the only process you have to follow for what? ALV reporting in Webdynpro. Okay, so if you practice 2 3 examples, it becomes very easy. It is much easier compared to our ABAP ALV report. There you have to link, there you have to generate field catalog, layout, all those things. Here I did not do all those things. Just 2 things: take one view container, embed external window, and map your final node with what? That data node of what? Interface. That's all. 2 step process, but requires practice. Done? Chalo then, so I'll wind off. Any questions?